Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Quinn Chapel Stabilization Bid Process webinar. I am Savannah Dar. I'm a planning and design coordinator with Develop Local. I am the project manager for this project as it is a grant project. Just to kind of go over our agenda a little bit for today's webinar. Of course, we're going to start with welcome and introductions. We'll introduce our panelists, everyone who's going to be speaking, and then of course give a project overview, some goals and timelines. And then Kevin will talk about the scope of work overview. Vernay will speak about the Human Relations Commission information that you need to know for your bid package. And we will have ample time for questions and answers. And you will also see a slide on here that has my contact information. So if you have more questions after this is over, please feel free to call me, email me. We are happy to help with any questions during this process. So I am going to start with introductions. So if everyone of our panelists kind of wants to start introducing themselves. Vernay, I see you first on my little grid of people.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vernay Goatley, and I'm the Executive Director of the Human Relations Department for Louisville Metro Government. And I'll be talking to you about our programs and services later on in the meeting.
Kevin?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Kevin Goff with EOP Architects. I'm a principal with EOP, and I'll be the architect on the project.
Kim, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'm Kim Henry. I will be the buyer for this project. Maybe just a little suggestion in the chat box. If those that have joined us would like to put in their name and the company that they are with, and if they are a general contractor or if they are a sub, and if they are a sub, if they what their specialty trade is. That way, maybe people can kind of link up to work together, have an idea of who's interested in the job or in the project.
It's a great idea, Kim. Thank you. So just to give a little background, Quinn Chapel AME Church is at 912 West Chestnut Street. You can see it with the purple dot here on the map. It's at the corner of Roy Wilkins or 9th Street and West Chestnut Street. It's right on the edge of the Russell neighborhood. Here's a photo of that front facade of the Quinn Chapel AME Church. It has been vacant since 2002 and requires stabilization. And we received in 2017 a grant from the National Park Service. It's an African American civil rights grant, as this building has a very strong history and significance tied to the civil rights movement in Louisville as well as nationally. And part of that stabilization funding is to stabilize what EOP Architects has decided are the best areas to stabilize would be the front porch, the upper front gable, and then a rear portion of the building, which Kevin can talk about in much further detail as he gets ready for his part. So this is a grant project. Everything that we do has to be reviewed and approved by the National Park Service. So some of those qualifications of working on this project, Kevin and Kim can help answer questions about some of that as well as we move forward. The building had a roof collapse in 2014, and that roof was rebuilt. So the interior of the building is pretty not intact. There are portions that are intact, and so it does have a new roof on that sanctuary portion. But you can see that the building remains boarded up, and we have had to do some emergency work preparing for this larger stabilization part of our project. The rear portion of the church is a rectangular shape. It's much older than the front portion of the church, which we will also talk about. So those are kind of the highlights of the project. And then I'm actually gonna turn it over to you, Kevin. I'm gonna leave this up for just a second. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. As I said, this is my contact information. I am Savannah Dar, and there's my direct line for my phone number. And also here is the web address for Bonfire. Louisville Metro uses a procurement system called Bonfire. This is how the bid will be posted. This is how you will apply for that opportunity. So if you need to see this again at the end, we can show this slide again during Q&A. That's perfectly fine. Just wanted to put this up here for a minute. So if you have an opportunity to jot it down, if not, reach out to one of us, ask us to show it again, perfectly fine. So Kevin, you need to share your screen.
Yes, please. All right, and then, sorry, I've been using only Zoom for so long. There we go. There's the share. Okay, so thanks, Savannah. So as Savannah said, this is a stabilization project, meaning the end result of this project will not yet be an occupiable building. So that's something I'm talking to the city of Louisville about for the building permit. We're not going to be seeking a certificate of occupancy at the end of the project. We have a limited scope of work that will help us preserve the building. What you'll see when you get the bid documents are two things. One is a traditional set of plans and specifications with very, it's a bid package. It's exactly what you would expect it to be. But part of the specifications I've included as an appendix, this document, which was the first thing that we produced for Louisville Metro, and that was a preservation plan for the building essentially as a whole. So this document goes through not just a summary and evaluation of the history of the building, the existing conditions of the building, and then all of the recommendations that we, the architects and the structural engineer who are Leonard Engineering, all the recommendations that we have for preserving the building to stop it from further decay. But everything within this document is not in the bid package, if that makes sense. So, we had a limited budget based on this first grant application. So this document is included really to give you a bigger picture of the state and current condition of the building and the building's significance. But it's the bid documents themselves that you'll be pricing. So this, as I said, it's included as an appendix for information purposes only. And it goes through and it walks through the, an overview of the building, a history of the building, as well as, our approach, how we made determinations, because a lot of this building is, it's not in really occupiable condition. It's hard to get into some of the areas. We were able to get in most of them, but not everywhere. What you'll see, sorry, my computer's taking a time to catch up. This shows you historically the way the building used to be so that we have a reference point for what we're approaching. This gives you a bit of the history of why the building is important. That's Martin Luther King Jr. speaking it from the pulpit of the church. And then we walk through and explain sort of how the building was designed so that we know what conditions we're trying to replicate. And then, like I said, this chapter tells everything that could be done to improve the building. You can see in certain areas that is not a design intent. You are not supposed to see the sky from that portion of the building. I think that's fairly obvious. So this document will really give you an idea even before we go, and I think we're going to talk about having a site visit so everyone can get to the building and walk through it during the bid process, I believe is the intent. But you'll start to understand the areas of most critical focus. So some work was performed. I'll show you at the end of this document. We did some emergency repairs just about a year ago, I believe. It was just towards the end of last year. We did some stabilization where these arches that you're seeing here were getting significantly damaged and loosened because of freeze thaw and water washing over them that when you go by the building now, you'll see that we've built some wood cribbing inside those arches to give them some support to stabilize it until we get this bid underway and get the construction started. And then this document, my background is I've been doing historic preservation and adaptive reuse projects for about 20 years. So this recommendation section will give you sort of the reasoning, the logic behind the decisions that we made in the bid package. So all of the drawings and the specifications are based on what we determined were the best courses of action for this building. And as you know, when you work on a historic landmark building, the end result is that we have to, again, we got the documents approved by the National Park Service that said they agree with our approach to the project, but at the end, we're going to have to submit verification that everything was performed in the way that they expected and in the way that we said it was going to be done in the documents. So anyone who's worked on historic projects knows that there is we're required to prove that we didn't damage the building's historic fabric in any way, that we use the proper treatment methods to repair the building. We can't, you can't just swap any of these clay tile bricks out for a common brick and call it a day. There will be, during this bid, we expect plenty of questions, and we will do our very best to get those responses back to all bidders. Everyone that's requested the bid will have the benefit of our responses to everyone else's questions. So those questions will become a part of the bid record, the bid documents, and we'll issue those as addenda before the end of the bidding period. So please don't hesitate to go through the bonfire process to get questions to us, even if it's, question about mortar color, whatever you want to ask, we'll do our best to answer it. The bid package is complete in the sense that we've established a certain limited scope for this project. There will be more work to come on this building in the future, but we don't know what the time frame on that is. So we're gonna sort of call it a day at the end of the bid package that we've produced at the moment. And the specifications and the drawings, we've done our level best to clarify that, what the parameters of this project are, because if you walked into the building now, you'd see 50 other things that your expertise says needed to be done, but we're just trying to do our best to get the building enclosed and start to dry over the next few months so that we can then prepare for more complete work in the future. So I think that's about all I have to share. Unless anyone has any specific questions now.
Did you want to mention qualifications while we are talking about this?
Yeah, thanks. That's a good question. So the specifications are very clear, and you'll see when you read them, especially under particular trades. Masonry is an obvious one, metalwork, demolition, and just overall general contracting. There will be requirements that you have performed work on a national landmark building in the past, and part of the bid package is going to be providing verification of that. Historic work is very particular, and we want someone to know what to expect, and with a building that's in this condition, there are requirements that you protect the building from further damage while you're doing the work. So those requirements are going to be very strictly enforced. I know there are plenty of contractors in the area that are more than qualified to do this work. So we encourage you and all of those that are interested to bid on the work, because it's a beautiful building. It's a really important structure for the city and for the neighborhood. And we want to all do our best to save a building like this, because, to think of a building that's been abandoned for almost 20 years, what that does to a neighborhood versus revitalizing a structure and getting it back into use, what that can do for our neighborhood is of far greater value than what we're going to invest in this building. So.
Savannah, this is Cynthia. We have a attendees that would like to ask questions. I'm going to unmute them.
I'm sorry, Cynthia, what did you say?
I said,
Yes.
Frederick wants to he has a question, so I've unmuted him.
Hi, Kevin. This is Fred. I have some few questions. I'm trying to reserve the rest when we get to the site visit. My first question is, when does the bid?
I think later this week is our intent. Within a few days.
the project bids this week?
Correct.
Okay, so this one would just be the qualifications, right? Is that what you're saying for this week?
No, the whole bid package will come out this week, and part of the bid package is the requirement that you just include with your bid your qualifications. So there's not a two-step pre-qualification process and then the bid. We're doing everything all at once.
So when is the site visit?
I don't think we've determined that yet, Savannah, have we?
We have not. Because you had to sign in to get into this webinar, we should have all of your contact information. But Fred, I know you and I were emailing this morning. So I can make sure that everyone is informed as to when we will have the site visit. And of course, we will publish that out there as well.
Okay, so one last question. Well, Kevin, what is the estimate or the budget for this project?
I don't think we're releasing that at the moment. We've done some internal estimating, but we're really just looking for a clean bid.
A clean bid,
So
what,
the
100,000, 200,000, 300,000?
I mean, it's
Nice
less than
try,
$1 million,
Fred.
I'll tell you that. But it's, the documents are very, very clearly delineated and scoped. I think you'll get a good idea once you see the documents of what's included and what the level of the work is. I mean, we could put $10 million into this building and be very happy, but we don't have that available at the moment.
Is that a bid bond required?
Yes.
So how do we submit this? Do we go through Kim and submit it on the bonfire?
Fred, it will be just like all the other ones. Yeah, it will come out. We're shooting for Friday. So it will be just like everything else you've bid on.
So if you say Friday, you mean this Friday, right? I just want to be clear.
Yes, yes. And then I would say we'll have a pre-bid 7 to 10 days, a week to 2 weeks after the bid opens.
I don't know if this Friday will be like a short time for us because I don't know.
No, that's when it will be available on Bonfire. That's when all the documents are going to be available on Bonfire.
But what I'm trying to say, Kim, is everything will be available on Bonfire, but I think Kevin is saying that we have to submit some of the documents on this Friday. Is that correct?
No. It will probably be out there for about 30 days.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. What is the duration of this project? Do you know, Kevin?
We've anticipated it somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 months, but the part of your bid is going to be a schedule.
Oh, we break it up?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I'll reserve the rest of my questions, Kevin. Yes.
Yeah, great.
Yes.
Good question.
I'm going to hold off.
Cynthia, is that it for right now?
Well, there's a question in the chat for the benefit who are new to this process. Or what is bonfire? Yeah, probably can answer that for Fred. Kim, are you there?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. I couldn't understand what all you said.
The question is just what is for people that are new to the process, what is bonfire?
Bonfire is the online portal that we use to advertise all of our bids. That's where you will download all the documents that you need and where you will upload your submission. If you go to the link that Savannah provided, you will need to register. When you register, please put in all commodity codes that apply to all the services that you provide. That way you will get notified of future opportunities also. One thing I do suggest, if you have not used Bonfire before, start your submission as soon as, you don't have to upload it all at one time. When the due date is in there, it will close at 3 o'clock. And if you have not uploaded everything, it will lock you out and you won't you won't be able to submit everything. So I suggest as you finish the pieces of everything that we are asking for and that we are requiring, upload those as you get those ready. Because there's always a possibility for, computer issues or whatever else. But at 3 o'clock on the due date, it's going to log you out. It's going to lock you out.
Okay, Fred has another question, so I'm going to unmute him again. Frederick.
Yeah, thanks. One quick question, Kim. Is there GFE on this project?
Yes. Yeah, it'll be just like everything else that you've bid on. Yes.
All right.
And the
Thank you.
normal goals, I believe, Renee, right? Correct?
I can hear you, Kim.
Yes.
That was a great segue into Vernay. If you want to start talking about HRC and your requirements, that's a great segue right there.
All right. Yeah. Thanks, Kim. Thank you, everyone. Yes, we will. We are asking for you to utilize our certification portal to find diverse businesses in order to do this project. For your subcontractors, there will be good faith efforts, and you will have to complete the good faith effort paperwork with this bid submission. If you are going to self-perform the work, you will fill out the form correctly saying that you're going to do that. But in case that you do use our subcontractors, you must fill out the GFE form for that so that we will be able to verify. And we will be monitoring this project to make sure what you put down that you are utilizing these firms. Now, when we're talking about our diverse business portal, it's any business that is minority owned, ethnic minority owned, female owned, disabled business owned, and LGBT owned in the portal. So you can go to the portal from our website at www.louisvilleky.gov /diversity compliance and get a listing of the available businesses that are listed in that portal. If you have any questions, feel free to call our office at 502-574-3631, or you can email us at hrc@louisvilleky.gov. Any questions or anything?
Frederick has another question, so I'm going to unmute him.
Yeah, I think I have a question for Kim. Can I go ahead?
Yes.
Yes.
Hey, Kim, because we don't know what the estimate of this project is, my question is there a bid bond required?
Yes, there is a 5% bid bond required.
Okay, and we have to submit it with the bid, right?
Correct. Correct. And then if you are awarded, then I will need your original bid bond.
Okay. And you said all this information will be uploaded this Friday, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, what last question? Can we get a current the MBE directory of what the lady just talked about, the suppliers and diversity? Do you have a current directory? Because it seems like the one we have is archaic, and sometimes when you call some of the, like Kevin just said, missionary or restoration contractors, some of their emails or fax number is disconnected. Do you know if the Metro government have an updated directory?
Yes, our website is, if you go to the louisvilleky.gov and go to our webpage, you can get on to the list, and our list is updated in real time because the BG2 Now system that we use have all current information. And if a participant has changed their information, it's uploaded as they change it. But
Okay.
if you are still having difficulties with that, contact our office and have one of our compliance analysts help you locate the type of company you're looking for.
Okay, thank you.
we have another question in the chat, that would be for, somebody wants to know if they can subcontract this contract.
Sorry, what was that question?
If somebody can subcontract on this contract.
Yes,
Yes.
I would expect each of the bidders to bring subcontractors with them as part of their bid. Absolutely.
We are encouraging you to use subcontractors, and that's where you can go out and find a diverse business in order to use on that contract. Our diverse business, we are looking to you. We have a goal of 15% minority, 5% women, or 0.5% disabled businesses to use. So yes, we encourage you to use subcontractors.
Frederick has another question. I'm meeting Frederick.
Yes, thank you. Ms. Cynthia, do we have to meet those goals you just mentioned?
We encourage you to meet those goals. No, we can't mandate you to use that, to do that, because we know there are sometimes difficulties finding certain vendors in order to do the work, but we are encouraging you. And like I said, if you're having trouble finding those diverse vendors, contact our office, because we also can tell you about the state, their vendor portal, and then Kentucky DOT has a vendor portal that you may also utilize. That's an online process. So we can do whatever we can to try to help you find the vendors that you need.
Okay, thank you. I have another question for Kevin. You said for the general to perform or do this work, the person has to have experience in working with restoration work. Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
So that means it's not open to all generals there.
Important for. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Is it open to all generals? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, it is open to general contractors at large, yes. But the particular staffing of the project superintendent at a minimum, and I would think the project manager from the general contractor's office need to have demonstrated experience with historic buildings.
So then that means this is like a request for proposal, right? You go through the evaluation process.
Yes, as part of your bid. And I mean, feel free if you want to get your qualifications sent in first before you've gone to the effort of putting together a bid number. Feel free to send those qualifications to me as an RFI, and we'll let you know if those qualifications meet or not. But I think you'll see the qualifications are pretty clear cut.
Okay.
You know, we have, as far as the trades that are going to be involved, there's not a lot of site work per se, no utilities and things. There's going to be demolition, masonry, roofing, framing, metalwork, those types of things. It's a fairly limited scope of work. So, you know, each of the individual trades will have requirements, but there are requirements for the general contractors themselves to have experience with historic buildings, because you'll be making the final decisions on what's acceptable and what meets the project and the budget or not.
Okay, and this building has been idle for, let's say, 20 years. So my question is there any like asbestos or lead work on this project?
It's a great question. So we have recently had the project reviewed for both lead and asbestos. There is one location inside the building in an old restroom that is not within the scope of work that does have asbestos tile that can be essentially left untouched during the work of this project. So that's the only asbestos that we're aware of. None of the areas of the immediate work of the scope of the project have been found to have asbestos in them. The assumption would be that all paint within the building is lead-based paint.
Lead-based.
I would assume that. So you're going to be following the OSHA regulations for lead-safe practices.
When is the last day of questions, Kevin? That we can,
Kim, I don't know what the bonfire requirements are. Typically, it's about a week before the bid is due.
Yeah, all those dates will be in Bonfire, Fred. Once it broadcasts on Bonfire, all the dates will be in there.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome.
I have another question in the chat. Do those who are bidding this contract at this time have to have expertise in restoring historic buildings before we bid?
My recommendation is if you're unsure whether your qualifications meet the requirements that'll be set out in the specifications and in the invitation to bid. If you're unsure, reach out to us right away, because I know a lot of effort, a lot of time goes into putting together a bid package and a bid response. So please, if you're unsure, if you've done a historic landmark building in the past that qualifies you, then please ask us first, because we don't want you to do all of the work for a bid and then find out that you don't qualify in the end. But it should be, I mean, it's fairly straightforward. I think, the short version of the qualifications are that you've spent 3 to 5 years on and have done successful historic landmark restoration projects. That's the short version. It's spelled out in more detail in the bid invitation and the documents, but that's the short version. You've successfully completed more than one or more historic landmark National Park Service projects.
And we have another question in the chat. Does part of the stabilization process include historic window work to help weatherize the building?
At this time, there are no windows within the scope of the work. We'll be working around windows, but there are no window replacements.
Looks like Frederick has another question.
Hey, Kevin, you said there's a demolition on this project?
There will be demolition, yes.
And so when you demolish, then it means you have to backfill, and they have to be like soil testing and stuff like that?
No, it's not. There's not a building demolition. There are just some areas you probably saw in the photographs that I showed. There are some walls that have started to collapse. So some areas of the existing structure will need to be taken down and reconstructed. So there are no wholesale building demolitions, no full removals from the project.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat at the moment. If somebody has a chat or has another question, please put your question in the chat, or if you'd like me to unmute you, you can put that in the chat as well. And seeing anything. We do have one call-in user that I'm going to unmute just in case they have a question, because I think they don't have access to the chat like everybody else. So for that individual at 502-909 is the phone number there. I'm going to unmute you right now. And if you have any questions, let us know. If you'd like to identify yourself for the sign-in, for everybody, you are, that'd be great too. You're now unmuted if you'd like to speak. Questions? also gonna, it looks like David Boyan is from Congleton is also on a phone. So I'm gonna unmute you, David, in case you have any questions.
No, I don't have any questions. Thank you all.
You're welcome. Frederick,
Cynthia, can you allow me to share my screen one more time? Because I want to pull up the bonfire web address just for anyone to view again before we wrap up.
Frederick is unmuted in case you have another question.
No, I'm okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to share this one more time. I am the project manager on the project, so if you want to reach out to me in order to ask Kevin or Kim or Brene questions, we can do that as a conduit. Since it's my contact information on the screen, that's perfectly fine. Of course, once Bonfire is open, we're aiming for Friday. Once that opportunity is open, you can ask questions on Bonfire, which would be the appropriate way to do that after Friday. But this is the link to Bonfire at the very bottom. And again, my email address and phone number. And we will be scheduling, like Kim said, within a couple weeks, an on-site visit as well. If there are no more questions, I guess we could wrap up.
I'm not seeing any questions, although there was a question earlier, just to ask you one more time, for anybody that wanted to identify themselves in the chat or to share their information, and give us your email and the contact that you work with, or what your expertise is, that would be great. And then Savannah or Kim, will this be able to, when everybody have this sign-in sheet after the meeting, that I think you guys can share with the group.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Let me just say also, once this goes out on Bonfire, the document takers will be public. So once you go in and get to the project, you will be able to see who has downloaded documents. So those could be resources for if you are a general contractor looking for subs, or if you are a sub looking for a general contractor.
Any other final thoughts or from anybody on the panel?
Just if anyone is looking for a diverse vendor, please contact our office for assistance so we can help you locate those. And we will have a person, one of the compliance analysts will be on hand when they do the on-site for additional information.
We did have one more question pop up in the chat. Must the bidders live and have a business in Louisville?
What was the question? Must they have a business in Louisville?
Must they live here or have a business here in Louisville?
No.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. Oh, Fred has another question.
Someone has one.
All right, thank you. So I don't know, Kim, if the general is MBE, do we get a discount? Excuse me. Do we get, sorry. Let me rephrase it. If the general contractor is MBE, does it help that, pretty much working on the West End, do we have to go out of our way to hire some Section 3 residents so that you can go towards our goal? Does it make sense?
I don't believe that this project has a section 3 requirement on it. I know it's some federal funds that's involved, but I don't think a section 3 requirement is on there. But if the prime contractor is an MBE, that percentage will go towards the MBE goal.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I'm good. Thanks, Cynthia.
Are we welcome, Frederick? Thank
And my only comment before we close is, you know, this building has a lot of incredible details. There may be a lot of questions because we're not working on the entire building. So I encourage you all, no question is too small. Please issue as many questions as come up, and we will get you prompt answers to every one of them. So yeah, don't hesitate. Don't feel like you're harassing me. That's what I'm used to. I've been doing this a long time. It's normal.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much to our panelists, and thank you for everyone that attended and asked questions. And I hope you got a lot of information today. And we look forward to the bid being posted on Friday and hearing more from you all. So thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah, for putting this together.